The wait is now officially over. We have a new Lexus IS for 2021, or I guess when we start looking at some of these photos, a sort of new IS for 2021, because there were some initial rumors that we would be getting an all-new Lexus IS and that this would be sharing a new rear-wheel drive platform with some as-yet unnamed Mazda vehicle, and it might even be getting BMW engines under the hood or a new Mazda inline-six engine. There were tons and tons of rumors swirling around on what the new Lexus IS would be. And when Lexus pulled the covers off, some people may be a little bit disappointed, because what it looks like Lexus has done instead is they've given us a heavily revised version of the current generation Lexus IS. Let's start out our look up front. We have the latest iteration of Lexus's spindle grille. It still looks aggressive and hungry, but it does appear to be a little bit better integrated with the body of the IS than the current generation model. I think some of that has to do with the new headlamp design, which no longer has the Nike swoosh or Lexus swoosh separated from the headlamp module itself. These are, of course, full LED headlamps. Moving to the side, you can see that Lexus has given us a bit more emotion, some stronger creases and curves here and there. We still have that long hood and short trunk proportion that you'd expect in a rear-wheel drive compact luxury vehicle. Moving to the rear, we have a little bit more of a change, perhaps. We have the latest version of Lexus's swoosh that goes from one side all the way across to the other. These appear to be full LED tail lamps. There's nothing controversial going on back here. I think it's a good, clean luxury car look. At the bottom of the bumper, in the IS F Sport model that's shown here, we have a rear diffuser that does look well integrated. We have a small black spoiler right there at the top of the trunk lid as well. The wheelbase has not changed for 2021, and again, the length change is probably due to some changes in the front bumper and rear bumper designs. One thing that definitely has changed is that the body is now wider than it was before, and Lexus says that that was to accommodate wider tires than we've had in the IS in the past. We don't know too many details, but there have been a lot of rumors swirling that we will get a 5-liter V8 in the Lexus IS at some point, or perhaps a more powerful engine at some point in this generation as well. We don't know when that will happen, but I suspect that some of the body changes were to facilitate perhaps that more performance-oriented Lexus IS in the future. Hopping inside, you'll notice that Lexus has not changed quite as much as you might have hoped for in the 2021 IS. We have basically the same steering wheel that we've seen in Lexus vehicles for a while. This is not the new steering wheel, however, from the Lexus LS. I think that's a bit of a pity. I really was hoping that we would see some of the new switchgear, the new steering wheel, etc. from the Lexus LS down here into the IS, and we don't. We do, however, have new touchscreen infotainment systems. Yes, you heard that right. Touchscreen. So the screen has been positioned closer to the driver. They've moved it away from that center of the dashboard setting. They've also made it bigger. So we have a standard 8-inch touchscreen, and then we have the optional 10.3-inch touchscreen that we see in the model right there on your screen. In addition to using the Lexus trackpad controller, which has never been my favorite input method, Lexus has finally returned the touchscreen. And I'm really hopeful that this makes its way into other Lexus models, because Lexus's software was always pretty easy to use when it had a touchscreen. Then they took the touchscreen away, and it really made it pretty difficult to navigate. I've never been a fan of Lexus's input methods, whether we're talking about their little joystick or the touchpad, but I think that a touchscreen will solve all of those problems. So I'm really happy that we've seen that change. The climate controls appear to be pretty much the same that we find in the current model. They've been restyled a little bit, but the format is essentially the same. Below that, we have the controls for the heated and ventilated seats, a pretty standard gated style shifter. We've seen that in the Lexus IS for a while. Looks like we have basically the same drive mode selector, pretty similar center console also. The instrument cluster also appears to be borrowed out of the previous Lexus IS. It's either a 7 or 8-inch LCD. It's hard to tell from these pictures, and we don't have any specific mention in here, but it probably is the same display that we found before. It looks like it still has the physical chrome ring around that LCD, the central element there that we've seen in the F Sport model for a while. Lexus has updated a lot of the touch points inside, so even though the hard points are the same, some of the soft coverings around them have changed and been updated for 2021 to make things feel a little bit more premium. And we also have a new premium audio system, replacing the previous 15-speaker system with a new 17-speaker system that's good for 1,800 watts. That sounds a little insane for a small car, but I can't wait to try that one out. Under the hood, we find a mildly updated engine lineup, so no BMW engines, no Mazda engines, and interestingly enough, no engines from the Lexus LS either. And I had hoped that that excellent Lexus LS twin-turbo V6 would make its way into the Lexus IS, but we don't see that at this point. So things will start out in the Lexus IS 300 with a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. They're saying it is now going to be rated for 241 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. It has been tweaked a little bit for 2021, and it's going to be mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, not the new 10-speed automatic transmission that we see in the Lexus LS. I'm a little bit disappointed in that as well. If you're looking for all-wheel drive, you may be a little bit more disappointed because the IS 300 all-wheel drive is going to give you 260 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque, basically the same tune that we saw before, through a 6-speed automatic transmission. This is likely because in the Lexus IS, the arrangement of the 8-speed apparently and all-wheel drive was not quite compatible, so they had to use the 6-speed in order to make it fit, and that does not appear to have changed for 2021. Now, it is still going to have a strong rear power bias, and it is still, of course, going to be Lexus's legendarily reliable V6 engine. Strong reasons to buy that over some of the turbocharged competition, but it's not going to be as fast as some of those BMW or Mercedes models. Now, there is still going to be a more powerful option, and that is the IS 350 that gives you a naturally aspirated 3.5-liter V6 producing 311 horsepower. That's going to be rear-wheel drive and going to use an 8-speed automatic transmission, basically like the 2-liter turbo. As before, there is an IS 350 all-wheel drive available that uses the higher output V6, but reverts to a 6-speed automatic transmission, again because all-wheel drive appears to be incompatible with that 8-speed. Rounding out the changes is the latest version of the Lexus safety system. They're calling this LSS Plus 2.5 because apparently LSS Plus wasn't random enough. Maybe they could have gone LSS Plus Plus. At any rate, this is giving us expanded auto braking, so it's going to have expanded pedestrian and cyclist detection in daytime and in low light conditions. And it's also going to have some intersection autonomous braking functionality, similar to what we see in some of the modern Volvo models. It says that when a vehicle or pedestrian is oncoming and you're performing a left-hand turn, this may be able to activate the pre-collision warning and autonomous braking systems. That's going to be coupled with the evasive steering assist function, which will help try and return you to your original direction of travel in your lane. Let me know what you think about the 2021 Lexus IS down there in the comments section. I have to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed that Lexus didn't change more about the IS. I think I would have been okay with the interior changes if they'd given us some new engines under the hood. I do like the way the exterior looks, and the IS has always been excellent to drive. If you drive the IS out on a track with some of the German competition, I love the way that Lexus has tuned the steering and the chassis. It just has an excellent balance to it, great steering feel, etc. It is an awful lot of fun, but the problem has always been that the Lexus is a little bit slower than those German options, and the German options haven't stopped. They keep giving us more and more and more base power, more mid-level power, and of course, bat crap crazy power in the very top end trims, and that has left the IS a little bit behind. Hopefully, Lexus will be able to rectify this at some point. There have been rumors that there's going to be a possible V8 engine under the hood of the Lexus IS at some point, or perhaps the twin-turbo engine from the Lexus LS. Personally, I hope we get the LS's engine and its new 10-speed automatic transmission. That's a great combo in the Lexus LS, and I would really have loved to have seen that in the IS. Let me know what you think about all that down there. Be sure and find us over at facebook.com/AlexNautos. If you haven't already done so, you can head over there and find out what we're driving this week. You can also find us over at instagram.com/AlexNautos to see the lighter side of things. I'll see all of you later.